Bhaktivinod Thakur Tirobha Mahamahosavati Ki Jai, Radhar Bhana Tirobha Mahamahosavati Ki Jai, Shri Amavasya Ki Jai, Seva Vrinda Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Srila Guru Maharaj, he wanted to get the favor of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinod Saraswati Thakur. You know, Yasya Prasadad Bhagavat Prasado, Yasya Prasadad Nagati Gatopi. Pleasing the Guru is the key to success in spiritual life. So Guru Maharaj is thinking, what would please Srila Saraswati Thakur the most? Observing him, his qualities, characteristics, tendencies. And he, in those observations, point out that although it is Bhaktivinod Thakur who sent Saraswati Thakur to the holy lotus feet of Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj for initiation, still, he said, really, he is wholly given over to the lotus feet of Bhaktivinod Thakur, as evinced in his naming deities, varying themes or combinations of the word Vinod. Right? So, sometimes Srila Gurudev would say that Srila Saraswati Thakur appeared in this world being irresistibly drawn in attraction to the wealth in the melted heart of Bhaktivinod Thakur. That way he liked to say it. The wealth in the melted heart of Bhaktivinod Thakur. So we're told the Vaishnavas are Paradukka Dukki. That comes from Raghunath Das Goswami in praise of Sanatana Goswami and his Bilap Kusamanjali. Bilap means that lamentation in the absence of. So he says, Vairagya Yug Bhakti Rasa Prayatne Apayayam Mam Anambipsam Andham Kripam Buddhi Yat Paraduka Duki Sanatanastvam Prabhu Asrayami. He's praising Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, he said, for Vairagya Yug, for making me drink the nectar of this Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga type Vairagya. And Guru Maharaj said, Saraswati Thakur gave the example of how veterinarians or farmers, they make a horse take some medicine. It's not easy. But they have a way, a system, they get the horse and then they like push the medicine down his throat. Then, so Das Goswami, who's, the Vairagya personified, he's saying like that, taking himself as if he was a attached person. But we know that recently at the Panihati Chiradoi festival, that when Das Goswami's mother suggested, like, we have these columns here, she suggested shackling Raghunath Das. Like, well, we can just, put a bolt with the chain. The chain can be long, so he can, make his way around the house and go about his work and everything. That was her suggestion. And Das Goswami's father said, Indra, when he said, Indra Aiswarja Sama, he's got opulence like Indra, the king of heaven, and Stri Apsarasam, a wife as beautiful as an apsara, a divine goddess in heaven. If that won't keep him bound, what good is this shackle you're going to put on his ankle? He said, for someone who's become a madman for Chaitanya Chandra Mahaprabhu. So, why did I say that? Because of Bhaktivinod Thakur and Saraswati Thakur. So, it's Bhaktivinod Thakur, as the wealth in his melted heart that brought Srila Saraswati Thakur to this plane. Guru Dam Grantadam Gaura Damadam Namadam Bhakti Dam Buddhidam Bande Bhakti Vinodidam Sada. Bhaktivinod Thakur, Gaura Shakti, like Gadadhar Pandit. Saraswati Thakur is writing in the concluding words of Chaitanya Charitamrita, drawing that comparison. Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj as Srup Damodar and seeing Bhaktivinod Thakur as Gadadhar Pandit in parallel positions. So that Bhaktivinod Thakur we hear, for example, in books like the Bhagavat Arka Marichi Mala, where Bhagavat Son, Puran Arko Dunoditaha, Krishnesva Dhammo Bhagate Dharma Jnani Dibiksaha, Kalo Nashtra Dashame Shah, Puran Arko Dunoditaha, that Kalo Nashtra Dashame, those who have lost sight, they've lost their spiritual vision on account of the dense darkness of ignorance of the Kali Yuga, they'll get light from the Bhagavat Purana. Like we have these lights here. There's the famous arc lamp that they use in printing and graphics. An arc, right? You know that? What an arc is from two content? It's like sun-like. It looks like, that's the comparison. Like sun ray, very intense light. Puranarko Dunodita, we're told the Srimad Bhagavatam, each sloka, we can take it to be one of the 18,000 rays of the Bhagavat sun. That's how it's illuminating Krishna conception in the Kali Yuga. Right? But Bhaktivinod Thakur, who descended into this world, as Guru Maharaj said, he's not a practitioner. He descended from the upper world into this plane to distribute something. Otherwise, there's no accounting for the magnitude of wealth of Bhaktivinod Thakur in the form of all the books that he produced, the Jaiva Dharma, the Chaitanya Shikshamritam, and so many others, and the Sharanagati, all the songs, the ability, as Gurudev said, for one who can, who has a grasp, a comprehensive grasp of the whole of Vedic knowledge and understanding, such a person can condense those Vedic teachings into one or two lines, as in his prayers and to Radharani that are sung in the Kartik Radhastami time, where he says that all the Vedas declare, saying that Krishna is the property of Radharani and her girlfriends. So Gurudev, this is in one sense an outrageous statement. How can he say that? He said, because he has a total grasp, a comprehensive grasp of the whole thing. So in the Gita we are Paritranaya Sadhunam Binashaya Chaduskritam. But in the song of Bhaktivinod Thakur, Braja Jana Palana Asurakula Nashana. It's even sweeter and more Goloka specific than what was given in Bhagavad Gita. what's found in the Bhagavad Gita is general. Paritranaya, he'll protect the sadhus and annihilate their opponents. But here, Brajajana, the Brijbasis, he'll protect them. Asura Kulanashana. So that Bhaktivinod Thakur says when he was in deep meditation on the Srimad Bhagavatam, which could mean in the early morning hours, there was one disciple of Srila Saraswati Thakur who lived in Swarupganj, Swananda Sukhada Kunj, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house is. He was like next door neighbor. And we've seen there's a cement bench outside on the veranda where Bhaktivinoda Thakur would go 3 o'clock, so in the morning, and take Krishna Nam. But this disciple of Saraswati Thakur, he heard him taking Krishna Nam at 3 a.m. in the morning. And he said it was like piteous wailing. As if someone was crying and utterly devastated by separation and crying out and wailing to their lover. That's the way he heard Bhaktivinoda Thakur taking Krishna Nam at that time. Sometimes we hear he would, after a full day in the court as the magistrate, come home, rest from, take some milk and chapatis, rest from 8 o'clock at night till midnight. Get up at midnight and the whole night write books, chant, sing, write songs, create all the canon for devotional literature for the Krishna consciousness movement. Then after sunrise and some more chanting, singing, then rest a little bit, eat something, then go to work. Maybe rest a little bit in the afternoon is the custom. So he said when he was very deeply in meditation on Srimad Bhagavatam. How deep does his meditation go? Gurmar gives the example of the Apiched Suracharo sloka and interpretation. It says Bhaktivinoda Thakur was taking Krishna Nam and walking in the sky. He means in the subtle plane. And we should remember, when we hear about spiritual locations, it's not like mundane cartography. Like Thailand is located here, India's here, America's there, China's over here. But spiritual location is based upon consciousness. Vaikuntya Pritivyadi Sakala Chinmoy. It's all spiritual conscious substance. That means it's located in a particular plane of dedication. That's why someone can be here and be in that plane at the same time. Tirti kurvanti tirtani svanstaktena gadabrita. It's mentioned in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Tirta bhuta swayam vivo. Where it's being told about great devotees. You yourself are tirthas personified. Wherever you go, that becomes a holy place. Because you're carrying the personality of Godhead in the core of your heart. Back to the wealth and the melted heart of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's substantial. It's so great that it can bring Saraswati Thakur down into this plane to join him. So even here, he can be in that domain, as evidence in his songs in real time. He's in Vidyanagar seeing Mahaprabhu on the balcony of the house of Vidyavachaspati after he takes sannyas. and finished his tour, and he comes back to Navadvip for a visit. Bhaktivinod Thakur is in the crowd in his song, singing. It's not just a fantasy, as Guru Maharaj said in defense of the descriptions in the Bhagavatam. What we may not be able to verify from our own position, it can happen in another kalpa, another time, another creation. Why he says that Purana, although Vedas is supposed to be the original spiritual literature, how can the Puranas have information that predates Veda? By giving information from another creation. So there are sages, they're in this creation, they were in another universe, in another creation also, and witnessed, observed certain things, and they're sharing that here. Right? So Purana not only fulfills the meaning of Veda, but also Purana means old. So it has information that's even before that. So Guru Maharaj said, what Bhaktivinod Thakur writes in his books, it may have happened in a previous kalpa. Don't think that they're imaginary characters. Or what it's in his own words, Neti Hasani Kalpanam. It's not imaginary, it's not historical. I remember the first time I read Saraswati Thakur quoting this. He said, the pastimes of Krishna are not a historical occurrence. What are you saying? They didn't happen? That's not what he's saying. He's saying it's not a historical occurrence. I mean, what is a normal historical occurrence? Something that takes place within the realm of time and space. That means it's temporary. All mundane history is temporary. Takes place within the realm of time and space. What Bhaktivinod Thakur is talking about, Neti Hasani Kalpanam, it's not historical in that sense, and it's not imaginary. It's not mundane imagination. It's not poetic imagination. So when he says he was deeply meditating on Srimad Bhagavatam, what type of meditation is that? Guru Maharaj in his Gayatri explanation, when he's parsing the word di, he said, do you think devotees are talking about abstract meditation? Dhimahi means like that. Meditate on the sun, right? Or meditate on the sun in your heart, right? One of the first Sanskrit things I ever heard, I was very impressed. I was a teenager listening to radio, and someone said, Aditya Hridaya Punyam Sarv Shatru Bina Shanam. Took me 40 years to figure out it's actually a bona fide mantra. But the way they told it, they said, all inauspiciousness disappears from one who meditates upon the sun within his heart. But then it's actually an old mantra that Guru Maharaj knew. But he was saying, what is that? What is illuminating? Atma. Atma means Atma and Paramatma, the Paramatma world. How is the Paramatma world illuminated, the spiritual world? Radha Bhava Duti Subha, by the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani. Faith is the halo of Radharani. Radharani is illuminating how to see, to view, to know, to understand, to serve Krishna. Nomi jate brahvavuse taridambaraya. Tarit. Isn't there a devotee named Tarit? Tarit Krishna from down under. Yeah, it's Taridambaraya. Tarit, it means lightning. Taridambar, the lightning dress. And we give our dandavats to Tarit Krishna, where he is at this time. That's what it means. The lightning dress of Krishna is, his garments are made out of chenmoy. He's covered in his potency. When there's Yoga Maya Samavrata, Naham Prakasya Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samavrata Mudho Yamna Mijananti. the rest. Loko yam avdam avdayam something. But, and also hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham. So he can be, there's deluding, we can say he's covered by his potency, but one way revealing, one way concealing. Taridambaraya, dressed in the Ladani Shakti. Krishna's achintya guna swarup, Shama Sundar, difficult to see. Isn't your name Shama Madhava?
Yes.
He's also difficult to see. I'm joking. No, but not about Sham. Sham, it means that, blackish. But achintya, when people say, oh, what type of black? We say, we're like happy to see. We posted, the monsoon rain cloud recently? You chased one down, right? Tracked it down. And so, mega, shama, mega, what's another word? Ganashyam, Shama Madhava, Ganashyam, Shama Sundar. So, the potency reveals, and Gora Shakti. So Bhaktivinod Thakur, this Dhimahi, his seeing. What is the seeing of Bhaktivinod Thakur? The seeing of Bhaktivinod Thakur is, in common parlance, known as the Krishna consciousness movement. That's what the seeing of Bhaktivinod Thakur is, whatever has been gifted to us by our Guru Varga. It's all from Bhaktivinod Thakur. Right? And that Bhaktivinod, he says, when in deep meditation on these things, who came? Srup Damodar, Mahaprabhu's Dutiya Kalevar, Mahaprabhu the second, who's the Prema Moy, he's the storehouse of Krishna Prem and revelations about Mahaprabhu. As we told the other day, that the whole Chaitanya Charitamritam is based on Srup Damodar's notes as extended to Raghunath Das Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So Bhaktivinod Thakur says that Srup Damodar told him to collect 1,000 slokas from that Bhagavat sun. Right? And he gave him unique explanation of the first 3 slokas, the basis of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. So Janmadhyasya Yataha slok, Sambandha, Dharmak Prochitaka Itabotra slok, Abhideya, Nigama Kalpatur Galitam Palam, Prayojan Tattva. And some special mystical things about Tejo, Vari, Mridam, and like that. But normally, if someone said these things, we would dismiss them as bogus, dismissed out of hand as bogus. But this is Bhaktivinod Thakur. Right? He's saying, actually, I shouldn't reveal these things because it might appear as self-aggrandizement, self-certification, self-endorsement. He's saying, but, if I don't reveal how this happened, I might be Guru Druha, not grateful to my Guru. Everything's coming by the grace of Sri Guru. So he reveals that. Right? Now, interestingly, Srila Guru Maharaj, he got some inspiration to take, instead of 1,000, around 300 slokas, compilation along these lines. And by the inconceivable will of Krishna, it didn't happen. But he did compose like the introductory slokas, one for Veda Vyas, and as appropriate for this type of work. Naturally, one should be glorifying Veda Vyas. But there's one sloka that's very peculiar that he composed that gives some hint as to the quality of verse selection. Right? So, and that's the pranam for Gadadhar Pandit. Nilambodhi tate sadasa viraha kepan vidham bandabam Srimad Bhagavati Katha Madhiraya Sanjeevayan Bhatya Srimad Bhagavatam Sada Svanayana Srupayanai Pujayam Goswami Prabharo Gadadhara Vibhur Bhuyat Madeka Gati. Devotees have some aspiration for Guru, for connection with the lotus feet of Sri Guru. But how that will be reciprocated can be very mysterious. How, through whom Krishna wants to reveal himself, and in what time and what way. So they're the higher devotees are very sensitive about that culture. It was Gadadhar Pandit, who's is, in Guru Maharaj's words, when Radha Bhava Duti Subalita, when Krishna has taken the heart and halo of Radharani so he can experience her position himself, the remainder is Gadadhar Pandit. That allows for Kaviraj Goswami to compare Gadadhar Pandit to Rukmini. Otherwise, that would be a faulty comparison. But absent the Bhamabhav, contrary nature, as we were told recently, Das Goswami, he wants to be with Mahaprabhu, talking about Guru. When Gurudev asked Guru Maharaj once, who is Das Goswami's Diksha Guru? Because he was initiated originally by Yadunandan Acharya. But Guru Maharaj said, complicated question. Gurudev always asking some very fine point. He knows this will get at some finer truth. And not to explain all, but at one point, when Das Goswami joins Mahaprabhu, he's put under the care of Swarup Damodar. And after some time, he approaches Mahaprabhu and said, actually, I came here to be with you. And you put me under the care of Swarup Damodar. And that's a very wonderful thing. But I wanted some, personal instructions from you. And so Mahaprabhu says, all right, I can give you personal instructions. And he does. He's very famous. Don't eat luxurious food, don't dress nicely, this, that, thing. And in your heart of hearts and your siddha, playing worship Radha and Krishna. Braje Radha Krishna, Manasa Koribe. Said, but the reason I put you under the care of Swarup Damodar is because what I don't know, he knows fully. Right? How is that possible? Is this just some clever repartee? What I don't know, he knows fully? But if we take it that Mahaprabhu, as we hear in these pastimes, Rath Yatra is coming up, he is so lost in divine madness. Swarup Damodar can maintain the composure necessary to assist him in augmenting his ecstatic emotional interior by singing certain songs, certain slokas, back to the slokas that will be extracted from the Bhagavatam. So Swarup Damodar knows that. Ramananda knows that. And of course, Gadadhar Pandit. And Gadadhar Pandit, when was very young, had this reputation of being like detached even as a young boy in Navadvip, and very beautiful and very favorite to many, including Nimai Pandit. But Nimai Pandit was showing his pastimes of being an arrogant scholar, so he would seek out Gadadhar Pandit and engage in some argument and defeat him, to the point where Gadadhar Pandit was trying to avoid running into Nimai Pandit. But Nimai Pandit got a lot of joy from teasing Gadadhar in like mock debate and argument. And Gadadhar would sometimes think like, Nimai Pandit is such a beautiful personality and so wonderful in so many different ways, has only one fault, he's not a devotee of Krishna. Until he came back from Gaya mad as a devotee of Krishna, and I forget who came and told him, maybe Mukunda said, did you hear the news? Like, what? Nimai Pandit's a devotee of Krishna. No. He's gone crazy. He's chanting Krishna Nam all the time, the names of the gopis. When he goes to Sanskrit class, he's showing how every word means Krishna, and all the grammars, Krishna, Harinamamrita, Vyakara, everything. Then happy times came, and Gadadhar is seeing how mad Nimai Pandit is for Krishna. And they're all together in a little group, and Mother Sachi's there also. She thinks Nimai has gone so, lost his mind since he came back from Gaya. And he's saying, Kahan Krishna Prananath Murali Badan Kahan Karun Kahan Pan Brajendrananda. Where is Krishna? Where is that Krishna? And he's asking Gadadhar, where is Krishna? Help me. Help me find the Lord of my heart, our Krishna. And Gadadhar says, well, Krishna is in your heart. But Mahaprabhu is in divine madness. So when Gadadhar says, Krishna, he's searching for Krishna, Gadadhar says, Krishna is in your heart. Then Mahaprabhu takes with his nail, he starts tearing his chest, and Gadadhar comes and stops him. He has the power to stop him from doing that. He's saying, not like that, in other ways. And Mother Sachi said, I like this boy, about Gadadhar. Very intelligent. He saw, this Gadadhar can control my Nimai. She said, I'm begging, and it's part of the pastimes too, and Mother Sachi saying, will you always stay with him and look after him? So, there, Gaur Gadadhar, that worship in Petersburg, when we were in Lakta, once Gurudev said, he called it the private bhajan chamber of Bhaktivinod Thakur. And like that door is shut. Don't try and enter. He said, that is Bhaktivinod Thakur's private bhajan chamber. And as Guru Maharaj told, it's a double dose of Madhura Rasa. Gadadhar, Radharani, Gadadhar Pandit, and Mahaprabhu Radha Bhava Subalita. And Saraswati Thakur is always cautioning against those who will try and impose pastimes of enjoyment upon them. This is their Acharya Leela. Although it is Radharani from Vrindavan and that Krishna, there are no pastimes of rasa like that. They're in Acharya Leela. distribution mode. Yata yata gora padara vinde vinde ta bhaktim krita punya rasi. Tata tutotso sarpati hridya kasmat. Radha padam boja sudambu rasi. They know how to get us there. They know what they're doing. Don't need some devotees to come and impose all kinds of what is it? Finite madness upon the pastime. It's so beautiful. Radha and Krishna, they've come in this way. They know how to perfectly take everyone into their divine abode. Chaitanya Lila, Gaur Lila is the arrangement for that. Vrindavan in distribution mode is Navadvip. Right. Krishna Lilamrita Sar Tar Shata Shatadar Das Dike Jaha Hoite Se Chaitanya Lila Hoy Sarovara Akshoy Manasa Chara Hangsa Jahate. Kaviraj Goswami at the end of Madhya Lila saying, just let the swan of your mind dive into the lotus of these pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Krishna Lilamrita Sar, it's the creme de la creme of nectarine substances, the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Even the highest section of liberated souls may not gain entrance there. Right? The Parama Presta Sakis, Asulabam, mentioned Upadeshamrita, very rare achievement. But Gaur Lila is the magnanimous distribution of Krishna Lila. Navadip has Vrindavan, as Guru said, Navadip, every atom of Navadip capable of giving Vrindavan in full. So, anyway, so Swarup Damodar, being Lalita Saki from Vrindavan, knows the needs of Radharani when she's feeling the pangs of separation from Krishna and the depths of separation. She's very experienced in observing Mahabhav's Rupini Radha Thakurani, and in rendering service to her. Mahaprabhu is in terra incognito in the heart, being enveloped by the heart of Srimati Radharani. Cannot account for himself in that sense. So Swarup Damodar says, and of course, Gadadhar Pandit, Srimati Radharani herself, can understand what to supply. Which of those slokas from the Bhagavatam are of the deepest significance and provide the deepest type of spiritual nourishment. But so, what does Guru Maharaj say in his poem? Nilambodhi tata, on the shore of that blue ocean. Puri is sometimes called Nilachala. Nilambodhi, the blue ocean. Who is there? Near Tota Gopinath, Gadadhar Pandit. Svaviraha. Krishna is feeling separation from himself. That means Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Radha Baba Subalita. Enveloped in the heart and halo of Radharani, feeling separation from himself. Kepanbitam Bandhavam. In the association of his most dear friend, Gadadhar Pandit. And what is Gadadhar Pandit doing? Seeing his friend suffering deep separation. We're told, Baihe Vishajalahoy Bitare Anandamoy Krishna Premer Adbhuta Charit. The unique characteristic of Krishna Prem is, although it feels this sort of divine love that one has been poisoned externally, like Gabriel Garcia Marquez passed away recently, wrote a book called Love in the Time of Cholera, comparing someone in love to being afflicted by cholera. That's what it looks like. That's in the story. They think this person must have cholera. No, they're in love. They're feeling separation. That's what it's saying. Bahye Bishajalahoy Bitore Anandamoy. Externally, as if one is poisoned by cobra venom, you can say. Internally, relishing some sweet, extraordinary nectarine substance. That's what it's Bitore Anandamoy. Krishna Premer Adbhuta Charit. And Rupa Goswami, Elder says, Sundari Nanda Nandana Parod Nishyandena, what is that sloka? Kalakuta. Anyway, I can't think of it now, but it's also a Rupa Goswami sloka making similar comparison. So, Gadadhar Pandit knows the slokas too. So, Srimad Bhagavati Katha Madiraya Sanjivayan Bhatya. The 10th stage of separation is death. So Mahaprabhu is on the verge of death. Sanjivayan Bhatya. And Gadadhar Pandits bring him back by supplying slokas from Srimad Bhagavatam as if they are intoxicants. Right? Like to give some relief to the heart. Right? Srimad Bhagavati Katha Madhurya Sanjivaya Bhati. Srimad Bhagavatam Sada Swanayanas Rupayanai Pujayam. And as Gadadhar Pandit is supplying these slokas, tears are streaming from the lotus face of Gadadhar Pandit onto the pages of the Bhagavatam, washing away the very slokas that he is singing. As if the tears are like lotus tear flower offerings onto the pages, washing away the poetry. As if it was never to be heard or indicated. And Guru Maharaj said, Goswami Prabharo Gadadhara Bibur. The best of the Goswami Prabharo Gadadhara Bibur, Bhuyat Madeka Gati. Let the collection I'm compiling here and presenting have as my purpose to propitiate Gadadhar Pandit Goswami. So, on account of that, we're told Srinivasacharya was sent to Gadadhar Pandit to learn the Bhagavatam. Right? But when he comes, what Gadadhar Pandit wants to teach him, those slokas have been washed away from the pages of the book. So he has to send them to Navadvip, and those it takes a few weeks to make a new book. Right? When he returns, Gadadhar Pandit has left the world. So then who is supposed to give the teaching to that aspiring disciple who wants the grace of Sri Guru? Which agent, at which time, for what reason and what purpose? Janmadyasya yatonvayat itaratas cha arteshu avigya swarat. Only Krishna knows. The divine will of Krishna. To whom, through whom, he will reveal himself, at what time. Bhaktivinod Thakur had a handful of disciples, but produced all the wealth of the present-day Krishna consciousness movement, right? And gave Guru in the form of Saraswati Thakur to distribute that wealth. And Guru Maharaj, just to conclude with this, so to get the favor of Saraswati Thakur, he thought, if I glorify Bhaktivinod Thakur properly, that will please Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, and I'll get his grace. So he wrote the Bhaktivinod Viraha Dasakam, and many things are there. Where he's saying, what you've given has exceeded Ramanuja and Madhva. You've surpassed the other acharjas. You revived the sampradaya when it had wandered off, and dharmas charma gateva satata yogas bogatmako. Many slokas are there, and very beautiful comparisons Guru Maharaj has given. But one in particular captured the attention of Saraswati Thakur. This was written in the lifetime of Saraswati Thakur. Sri Gauranamatam Srupa Viditam Rupagrajen Adritam Rupadye Pariveshitam Raghuganai Ashvaditam Sevitam Jivadye Abhirakshitam Sukha Shiva Brahma Samanitam Sri Radha Parasevanamritam Aho Tadatum Bhavan. And Sri Gauranamatam Srupa Viditam. Just like Kaviraj Goswami and Rupa Goswami, Srupam Bibrano Jagatatulyam, is saying, the full reason for the descent of Mahaprabhu is known only to Srup Damodar. And that means many things to us. One of the things it means is anyone who says anything that does not line up and echo the sentiments expressed by Srup Damodar, we dismiss that as being apocryphal or just bogus. It must come in the line of Srup Damodar, Ramananda, Ek Ramananda. There aren't two. Right? Sri Gauranamatam Srupa Viditam Rupagrajen Adritam. This is Guru Maharaj. He's actually glorifying Bhaktivinod Thakur. So he's saying, he's going to show us that what is the gift of Bhaktivinod Thakur to the world? Well, who knows fully but Srup Damodar why Mahaprabhu descended? That means Chaitanya Charitamritam. It's not all revealed explicitly in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Right? So it means Srup Damodar, Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas, Rupagrajen Adritam, and the elder of Rupa Sanatana Goswami, Adritam, he's worshipping. It is his worshipable divine substance. Rupadye Pariveshitam, and Rupa and his followers, they're through the Bhakti Rasa Shastras extending that. Raghuganai Ashvaditam, and Raghunath Das and Krishna, they're tasting this. And unlike mundane substance, if somebody tastes something, it's minus that taste, right? It's less. And in a spiritual service, by their tasting it, what's the outcome? It's becoming enhanced. The contribution of Raghunath Das Goswami and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, they're enhancing what is already inconceivable nectarine substance, becoming more relishable, being tasted by them. Jiva Jaya Virakshitam, and Jiva Goswami doing his service to Sampradaya by protecting this. And we see things that are very valuable, they have to be protected, right? From adulteration, modification, theft, out and out theft, those who would challenge its legitimacy, its authenticity. Jiva Goswami, Baladev Vidyabhushan, and Sri Jiva Tejastiti, Srila Saraswati Thakur, in the mood of Jiva Goswami also protecting the Sampradaya, and Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Rakkak, Sridhar Dev Goswami, the guardian of devotion. Sukha, Shiva, Brahma, and Uddhava, a gradation, saying that Sukadev Goswami, Shiva, Brahma, Uddhava, Asamaho, Chadarena, Jushamahanksham, that Uddhava, they're aspiring for a drop of this substance. What is it? Sri Radha Padasevanamritam. Prabodhananda said, Radha Sudamburasi. Right? Yata yata Gaurapadar Vinde Vindeta Bhakti Amrita Punarasi. Tata Tatot Sarpati Hridya Kasmat Radha Padam Sudamburasi Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi. The nectarine service of the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Guru Maharaj is saying, that is what is the Krishna consciousness movement. That is what Bhaktivinod Thakur came to give to the world. Aho, that is your wonderful, inconceivable gift to the world. And through the agent of your dear Dvaita Das. So, having identified what this is, what does Guru Maharaj say? Oh, so I want a direct connection with you? No. He's saying, if you, in the next sloka, if you will give me your grace to be one of the insignificant servitors of your dear Dvaita Das, then I will consider myself very fortunate. Hare Krishna. Srila Saraswati Thakur, he had a disciple named Bhagavat Janananda. As we're told, those who are eager, whose eyes are awakened, they'll find traces of divinity everywhere and everything. Right? So this disciple of his, who is not significant in conventional, stereotypical ways, he left the world, maybe prematurely or something. And Guru said, Saraswati Thakur was found lamenting, saying, oh, Bhaktivinod Thakur came to me through him, and I could not recognize him. That, he said. And he named one of his mats after him, the Bhagavat Janananda Gaudiya mat. So what I mean to say by invoking this is, when we're dealing with particular spiritual substance, and talking about these divine personalities, then we will also look for those traces of divinity. And if we find our God brothers and God sisters bring about some remembrance of the holy lotus feet of Sri Guru, we should thank our lucky stars for that. Everyone has some capacity for reflection, and their hearts are mirrors. The heart is like a mirror. They all are God brothers and God sisters. They've submitted themselves to the lotus feet of Sri Guru. They're reflecting some spiritual substance that's very valuable for us, and we're happy to have their association and be surrounded by them, insulated by spiritual protection. So, Gurudev, I recall on his veranda in Calcutta saying once, just in a particular divine mood, there was a whole group of his disciples assembled there, and he said, oh, you are all gifts of Guru Maharaj. That's how he was saying them. He didn't think, you're all mine. He was saying, no, you're all, it's Guru Maharaj's mercy. You're all gifts of Guru Maharaj to help me in his seva. That's the proper angle of vision. Saraswati Thakur called his devotees Prabhu, which is generally reserved for Guru. He's seeing disciples as Guru. Oh, I'm unfit to do the desired service. My Guru is manifested in the form of so many assistants. No way, it's happy and reciprocal. Bhaktivinod Thakur was sometimes worried about Srila Saraswati Thakur, how he would get on in life. Because some reports would come, he'd be arguing with students in the school in favor of Krishna conception, and like a father-son talk. And Bhaktivinod Thakur said, I'm a little worried about you, how you're going to get on in life. And Saraswati Thakur said, don't worry about me. I'll manage. And how did he manage? He had a vision. The Panchatattva appeared to him, saying, Prabhu, you just preach this Krishna consciousness movement. We'll supply all your necessities. Don't worry about that. Guru Maharaj wrote me in a letter when we started preaching about him in earnest, and I was saying like, I don't have any money. I mean, literally, not like in a metaphoric sense, literally. And at the same time, I got a letter from Guru Maharaj saying, I'm pleased with you, Prabhupada's pleased with you, and he said, and if you want to do this sincerely, he said, Mahaprabhu will supply all the paraphernalia necessary for your service. And we see that happening again here. Primary agency is Avadut Maharaj and his team, but Paramananda Prabhu and I were just discussing that Krishna obviously has some plans for seva here, to assemble the servitors for the seva. And Giriraj Govardhan came in and just took over. So there's, as we know, he tested Madhavendra Puri. Sometimes you get some seva that tests you. It seems like, I can't do this. I'm not... Madhavendra Puri was an old sannyasi when he was told in dream by Giriraj Gopal, the deity Gopal, on Giriraj Govardhan, that he should go to Orissa and collect around 40 kilos of sandalwood and a bunch of camphor and bring it back because I'm hot. And he happily, he went to do that, and you had to get papers and stamps, and it's India. Think about it. It was still India. You're trying to carry through different borders, and all this sandalwood. Gopal was testing him. And he passed the test. When he passed the test, then Gopal appeared again and said, actually, Ramadi Murti, did you read the Brahma Samhita? That deity is also me. You can give all the sandalwood Pope to Gopinath. So who knows what the Lord has in store, but it's always seva opportunities. And that's what's come here. And we like this place to be filled with Bhaktivinod Thakur's conception, which means Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, like that, who remind us substantially of Bhaktivinod Thakur. Hare Krishna. One, at the time of his passing, one of the higher up, maybe Bipin Paul, said, 7th Goswami. We've heard of the 6th, Bhaktivinod Thakur, 7th Goswami, of that caliber. I think Goswami, Prabhu Gadadhara Vibhur. If Saraswati Thakur does seem like Gadadhara, then that's the same thing. Goswami, Prabhu Gadadhara means the best of them. So, Jai Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur Tirobha Mahamahotsav Titi Ki Jai. Srila Gadadhar Pandit Tirobha Mahamahotsav Titi Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Go Premanande. Hari Harai Namo Krishna Yadavaya Namo. Hari Harai Namo Krishna Yadavaya Namo. Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namo. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Garadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Echai Gochai Kori Charana Bandhan. Jaha hoite vignanas abhishta puran. Echai Gochai Jar Mui Tarodan. Tansavara Padarenu Mora Panchagran. Tadara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevan. Janame Janame Moye Abhilash. Echai Gochai Jabe Braje Koilovan. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Madai Aman. Sri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Harinam Sankirtan Kohe Narottamadan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Acharya Sister Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai.